it, and around the outside, Ingram gets the race lead away from Tomasi with a big move under brakes.
See that he blasts straight around the outside of the Audis.
Get everybody, Ram McClurkin here, Sports Sedan TV, episode 7. 5, 6, 7. So there's been a bit of a break since the last episode. Some Sports Sedan races have happened, and I didn't get to go to them to the National Round 1 in Tassie. We'll touch base with that. I just wanted to quickly bring everyone up to speed. Basically, I'm not going to name names. I don't want to go too far into it because some of these people are really good friends of mine, blah, blah, blah. But basically, I've been told not to crowdfund to get to the events. And late last year, I sort of put forward the idea that I'll try and find a sponsor to cover media for national sports sedans, and was told not to worry about it, it'll be all sorted out, blah, blah, blah. Nothing was sorted out, not having a crack at anyone. And the crowdfunding last year worked fantastic, but obviously crowdfunding to get someone to go do media for national sports sedans is not a good look for national sports sedans because it shows that there's no money for media. And there isn't. And that's the fact that they don't want me bringing attention to, and I won't be after this, but I just wanted to say that's why I'm not there. Last year, I did get to all the rounds. National sports sedans, precision, paid, and put me up and got flights and things like that to cover costs. And I also did some work for Duggan Racing, which was fantastic. Thank you. And did a lot of stuff for them behind the scenes for media and sponsorship. That's not going forward this year. That's all good. And look, people are like, well, why don't you just go along? Try, just do it. And it's like, well, I'm not independently wealthy. My normal work is quieter at the moment. So last year, my costs were covered and I made a little bit of money, not tons for the amount of effort, but I really enjoyed it. So happy I did it. No regrets. It was a really good experience, and I really enjoyed getting to know a lot of the competitors that I didn't know as well, and also getting to hang out with the ones that already are my buddies. So moving forward, basically what that means is at this stage, I'm not going to be going to any of the national events. And if I do, I'm just going to go along to hang out with people because I like them and I like the cars and it's rad. And I'll focus probably a little bit more on my own racing, which has been neglected, and my own business and things like that. Outside of covering sports sedans. But I want to try and still touch base with everyone and get some information out there so you know what's going on, just because I like it. So really what I'm saying is it's a hobby purely now at this stage. So I'll get things out when I can. And if anyone wants to talk about sponsoring the media for sports sedans, let me know and we'll have a chat. It doesn't cost $10, I'm afraid. Things cost. Think about this. You go to work to make money. It's going to events, interstate, editing, filming, equipment, etc., time. You guys don't do it for free either, do you? So, moving on. Episode 7 of Sports Sedan TV. So round 1 for the Precision National Sports Sedans was at Symmons Plains in Tassie, the Apple Isle, the home of the red Skyline. Unfortunately, Brad, who has now a blue Skyline, didn't get to race because he had a testing incident and damaged the car beyond repair. I do understand that the car is repaired. I'm not sure if he is intending on running round 2 at the Bend, but time will tell. He isn't. It hasn't been told to me to put him up there on the entry list yet. I suppose the biggest thing that came from that race meeting, besides the awesome win, which we'll look at in a minute, by an awesome car and an awesome team, was the tyre issue. So last year we ran on Kumho's, and this year Nationals are now running on Hankooks. And with supply issues and things like that, they didn't have enough Hankooks for all the cars in all the sizes. So in the emails sent out to the competitors, it was said that if you couldn't get your size and couldn't get a tyre to suit your car in time, You were allowed to run on any branded tyre that you can get. Now, I suppose some teams possibly took advantage of that, and that's okay because it was in the emails out to the competitors that they could do that. So firstly, I think everyone shouldn't be upset at any competitor that chose to use a different tyre. Whether they could get their size or couldn't, I don't know. I don't want to go into speculation on that, but basically some of the teams did, and they ran different tyres, and many of the Hankook runners reported that they felt that those other tyre brands got up to temperature quicker, and those guys were able to get a bit of a gap or an advantage for the first couple of laps, 2 or 3 laps, while the Hankooks came on. The Hankooks are a harder tyre, I think, than a lot of the other people ran. Round 2, I've been told that there is enough supply now of Hankooks, and everyone who is competing for national points must run on a Hankook. So I don't think there's any ifs and buts now. So that should hopefully put that to rest. I'm assuming that if you rock up, well, not rock up, but if you enter as a state competitor, which I think nationals still allow, and you don't run for national points, they may be a little bit lenient. I'm assuming that if you're a front-running car, though, they're going to be fairly adamant that you run on the Hankooks that are the official tyre for the series. So if you're thinking of running as a state competitor, just hit up the nationals and just sort of see what they say, because in the end it comes down to them. It'll be in the sub-regs, I suppose. So yeah, that was the big, I suppose, I don't know, blow up point from round 1. It would have been good to be there to get the full gist. Pete Ingram, Ingram Brothers Racing in that beautiful rotary turbo RX-7 dominated this weekend. Dominated round 1, really. I think that's fair to say. Alex Williams looked like he was going to be in for a good show, but he cracked a rotor housing or something substantial, so they couldn't run. So Pete was running on a different tyre, wasn't running on the Hankooks. But I spoke to him and he felt that he had a lot up his sleeve still. Keep in mind, these guys is a brand new build. Well, last couple of years, it's a new car. They've been testing flat out. They've been developing. They've been adjusting aero. And do know this, that the front-running turbo cars, rev limits and boost limits were checked on those cars to the best of my understanding, including some of the Tasmanian cars that were quite quick. So everyone's playing ball, so to speak, to the power to weight regulations that sports sedans in Australia now run to. Well, we're only in Australia. You can look at listen to earlier episodes if you want to hear about rev limit, boost limit, power to weight, what you're allowed to run and all that type of thing. I don't want to sort of go over it and bore you with more information. If you do need me to do a refresh, just let me know. So, yeah, that was Nationals. They had a decent field. It was good to see a couple of Mark cars running. Mark cars, Jeff Taunton and the team will be running some of these GTSSs, which, yeah, look like a good thing. There's obviously different levels of them. Some still run, I think, a more standard motor, more standard Chev in them. They're running LSs. I think LS2s, 6-litre Chevs. Where Jeff's car's fairly developed. That was the car that won at Gold Coast. So definitely keep an eye on them. I do believe that they are entered for round 2 at the Bend. At the Bend, we'll be running the West Circuit, so it's a smaller circuit. I've heard it's really good viewing for spectators, and hopefully there'll be a few South Australian boys. They did do a round, but had a fair few cars blow up and break, as sports sedans do in every state and nationals. It's not just the South Australian boys, so hopefully we'll see some of them out. Willem Furch's Chev 86 is now in South Australia, and that did quite well in the hands of its new owner. So if you want to have a look at what's happening, you can go into the South Australian Sports Sedans Facebook group, and Miles and the crew there are fairly active in getting information out. What next? New South Wales, they had a round at Winton. Yes, I know that's not in New South Wales, but at this stage they only have one track. They have just announced that one raceway will be the final round in December for the New South Wales Sports and Championship. So check that out. Brad dominated at Winton. Kicked their asses. So Nationals and New South Wales have both been taken out so far by turbo rotary. So I think that's fantastic, isn't it? It's a bit of a change. It's been a Chev stranglehold. It's good to see Stephen Lacey with his Camaro back. He's running the Camaro, by what I can tell, in the New South Wales series, and running a GTSS run by Mark Cars in the National Series. So that's kind of cool. It must be interesting to jump from one to the other. We have spoken a few times about it, and we are going to try and tee up a bit of a chat just to give you guys a bit of a rundown on what it's like moving from, like, let's say an old school sports sedan, carbureted, H pattern, no power steering, no bells and whistles, just a really basic raw sports sedan, to a more modern one which does have a lot of the bells and whistles with paddle shift, an ECU and all kinds of magic going on. It's not turbocharged, so it's not full magic, and it's not rotary, so it's not alien technology. But if you know what I'm saying, it'll be quite. He has said they are quite different to drive. The Camaro, I think, does have a lot more power than the GTSS. And I think he's quicker in the Camaro. So, so that could be an interesting chat as well. Victorian sports sedans also had another round at Winton, round 2. I'm just looking here. I remember, so the first race was pretty exciting. Young Trav Condon got out in front and was winning the race. How good's that in the little Kermit machine? Dean obviously went on to, well, not obviously, Dean went on to win that race. So that was pretty damn exciting. I'm just having a look here. Yeah, so Dean Cam took out the first race with Trav second and Francois Habib in third. And then race 2 was pretty exciting as well. Dean took that one out, but Kev Stoopman, little friggin' Kev Stoopman in the Mitsubishi Evo 4-wheel drive that is for sale on my 105, grabbed second with Trav in third. So that was a pretty exciting race too, and it's going to be interesting. It was interesting to see how it was going to shape up for that final race. And in that final race, Kevin Stoopman in a floor pan 4-wheel drive 4-cylinder turbo. Is that right? Yeah, 2-litre turbo. Wow. Took out the win over Trav Condon. Now, to be fair, Dean had, I think, a power steering issue with fluid coming out, and he got a black flag. He had to come in, and then he went out, and then I don't know if they brought him back in, but they sent him out, and then they said they didn't send him out, and there was a lot of drama, and he got a fine and got sort of called out. But yeah, it was a little bit messed up. I wasn't there, so I don't fully know what exactly happened. So I don't want to be blaming anyone, but it seemed like a bit of a shit show. So hopefully that's rectified moving forward. There was a bit of debate over, I suppose, the controversy at round 2 for the Victorian sports sedans was length of the races. Some people wanted really long races. Other people, I think the organisers wanted to give them shorter races, and there was a bit of debate over that. So again, I'm glad I was not there in racing. I'm pretty happy with the formats we normally run. I don't think we need to run epic endurance races. A lot of us have tiny fuel tanks and very hot cars, but I still think that some people with cars that are not as hot and not limited with space and don't have an engine next to them and have a big fuel tank want to run big long races, and that's fine. I suppose that's their agenda and whatnot, blah 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 blah. But sports sedans, I don't know, I'd like to stick with what we've been doing, and hopefully that's what will happen. So Vic, that was pretty cool, and they've got another round, not for a while now. Their next round is not till June, so a bit of a wait for them. We probably should touch on some sad news in the sports sedan world, and that was Bob Gill passing away. Bob Gill is Australian Sports Sedan Association, so the Victorian clubs are life member number 3. There was a big turnout for his funeral, and a lot of fantastic stories online about him, and he was well loved. So a sad passing for motorsport and sports sedans, and I suppose, and much condolences to his family. So Bobby Gill, unfortunately, has left the building, but he left his mark, and I think that's pretty cool. A lot of people bloody love the guy. So yeah, see you, Bobby. Hey, we'll have a beer for you, buddy. I don't think he'd drink Asahi, but I think he'd be like saying, "A bloody idiot. What are you doing drinking that shit, you wanker?" No. Cheers, Bobby. So we're sort of jumping around a little bit. I wanted to catch up on a bunch of different things for this episode of the podcast. I wanted to quickly touch on a couple of other little issues or little things that have come up that I've been noticing. So bear with me here, and I don't want to go into full technical stuff, but just a general sort of chat about this. So sports sedans have a 6 litre capacity limit, 3.5 litres if you turbocharge them. I don't know what the friggin' limit is on rotaries, but it's similar. Basically, you can't be over 6 litres. There's a calculation that some people agree with and some people don't, but it exists. Anyway, what I want to know is, now that we are running to a power to weight rule, why don't we open up the capacity limits? Because you can't make 1,200 horsepower, 1,500 horsepower. Your car would be so bloody heavy. It'd be terrible. You may as well be driving a freaking truck, bro. So what I'm not saying let's just make it hell for leather, like just open the floodgates. But I think there has been a lot of talk over the years about letting a turbo barrow in that isn't brought down to 3.5 litres. Are they 4.1 or something? I don't freaking know. But they're over 3.5 litres. Things like a LS3, is it 6.2 litre Chev? Why don't we let that run? GDR motor, what are they? 3.8 litres, 3.8 litre turbo. So obviously this puts it over the 6 litre limit when you could multiply it. So maybe could we just like we have with the NASCAR motors, because they're on the list. They're not production motors. They're based on production motors, but let's be friggin' honest. The NASCAR powered guys pushed that boat and it fit within, some sort of rules, some things. And it's in there, and there's a list of NASCAR motors you can use. Why couldn't we have a list of that you can run a Barra, if it's 4.1 turbocharged or supercharged, you're allowed to run that. You can't run it at 5 litres or whatever. You can't stroke it. You can run a 6.2 litre Chev, but naturally aspirated. You can run up to, say a GDR motor. I'm sure there's other motors as well that could suit it. It's just something, maybe we don't need it. Maybe we don't need to expand. I'm sure some of you watching are going, shut up, Aaron. Shut up about that shit, bro. Just leave it as it is. But, I think it's something that should be entertained and looked at with the power to weight rule. So we've got a power to weight rule. So what does it matter if I'm running a 6.2 litre Chev now or running a 3.8 litre V6 turbo? I still can't make over a certain amount of power. I still can't rev it over a certain amount, and I still can't put more boost into it. Just something to think about. There are motors now that exist, especially with NASCAR motors becoming, holy shit, rare as shit to get parts for. John Goulet's waiting for parts. Tony Ricciardello's waiting for parts. Last year, Phil Crompton had to wait basically a year to get parts for his motor. I know that if I want parts for my Dodge motor, I have to wait or get things custom made. Coxie is in the same boat with his Dodge motor. I am sure that everyone with a NASCAR motor, for the most part, unless they've been hoarding parts for the last 10 years, is screwed. So if you blow a motor up and it's your only motor, you are out for the year most likely. So it's something I think we need to touch on. It's something we need to look at for the future. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm full of shit. It's a shit idea, good idea. Obviously, we need rules. We can't just rock up with rocket launchers and jet motors and 17 turbos on a fucking 10 litre V12. We can't put Formula One motors in there. We've got to have some sort of limitation. The idea is, I think, to be able to access motors that are more easily accessible now, that allow us to make the kind of power we need up to that limit, obviously, without having to spend stupid money and get things made. Get your pistons and made, your rings made, your valves made, this made, your crank made, blah, blah, bill of blocks. Bill of blocks is a whole nother thing. They're in. I suppose some people have said that they shouldn't be, but they are, and I think probably they should just stay. Now that we've limited our how much boost we can have and things like that. I know it's more technical than that, but I don't see a problem with bill of blocks personally. But hey, I actually don't make the rules. This is just a discussion. Another thing I wanted to talk about just quickly was, again, originally sports sedans, you needed to use the steel roof, was it the A and B pillar, the sill, I think it was, of the original car. That was steel. It had to still be steel. Now, that rule doesn't exist anymore. So we can make our cars out of fiberglass or carbon fiber, so you can make a carbon fiber roof. You don't need the sills anymore. None of that has to be there. It just has, the measurements have to be right, but the bits don't have to be there anymore. I know a lot of cars that basically just have a roof, A and B pillars, tail lights, a bonnet mold, a boot mold, and the rest of the cars change. The doors usually are pretty standard, but they might be cut in half even. So all kinds of things. So we don't need to probably limit a car like the BMW Z4, or dare I say it, the Mazda MX-5 as well. Now, I'm personally not a fan of Mazda MX-5s. I think they look crap, but they're a really popular car. They're becoming a bit expensive now. And a car like I suppose the Z4, I think a fantastic looking car. Now, what's the difference with running one of those with a hardtop? Like, it needs to be a permanent hardtop. They can't be rocking up to freaking scrutineering with their roof off and, playing Toto and, sipping champagne. But if that's a permanent hardtop, like say, for example, the Z4 GT3 hardtop, it's permanently there, you know what I mean? Like, it's on the car. They're not gaining any advantage. To be honest, it looks as much like a sports sedan as any other two-door coupe does now. I know that's a contentious issue, but stick it up your ass. We're running coupes. It's not just sedans. They don't have to have 4 doors. 2-door cars look sick, so bugger off with your 4-door shit. But what I'm saying is that's probably something that could be looked at. Do we get any cars from it? Maybe a couple. I know that there was a Z4 that was built in Sydney for sports sedans. Obviously, he didn't read the rules correctly. That's on him. He runs that in TT and things and other events, but it would have been super cool to have that car. There's also the Honda S2000 that could run a hardtop permanently. I know a few people wanted to build one of those. They run a pretty cool motor. The K motor, the 2-litre turbo motor. I don't know. It could be really interesting, but again, something to think about, something that maybe the clubs and the nationals will discuss at some point. I know they've got a lot on their plate. But yeah, open it for discussion. Obviously, again, we've got to fit within rules. It just seems practical and logic. I'm looking at logic here. Logically, we can have carbon fiber roofs on our cars now. We don't have to have steel. So what's the difference between having a carbon fiber roof on my Calibra and a carbon fiber roof on a BMW Z4? It's the same. I can make it so my roof. I know that the McCready 300ZX, the roof comes off. He just pulls the freaking roof off. A/B pillars, roof comes off. Just a roll cage, the rest of the car. So it's convertible. Obviously, he doesn't race it like that, but what I'm saying is our cars come apart. They're just bits of panel. Obviously, it's meant to look like the car. That needs to stay, otherwise we could become full prototypes, and that's not what we are. But yeah, something to think about. Maybe to change, be good. Let's look at, so also I probably should quickly touch on, now obviously I'm not in Queensland and I'm not super up on the historics and Western Australia. Okay, I'm not trying to forget anybody. I just don't know as much. I need your information and you guys need to, from those states and places, if you want your content on here, you need to feed me. Just feed it. Give me a smorgasbord of information. Not, why did you forget about me? Don't you like us? It's not like that, man. I'm not like that. That's not what I'm about. If I didn't like you, I'd just be like, you're a dickhead. But I probably wouldn't not talk to you. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so 2 litres as well. So let's start with, because they feel a bit left out, Queensland and Western Australia. Queensland have had a couple of rounds, one at Morgan Park and one at QR. Good mix of cars. I think young Crompton has taken that out at both of those. Tim Trinton was running, Coxie was running, a bunch of people. They're mixing the field up, so it isn't just sports sedans, but they're trying their hardest. And I've relaxed. I've let down my guy a little bit. Before I'd be like, stuff it, I'm not covering you guys. You have to be sports sedans only, no sports cars, no IP, no nothing. But, I'm trying to be a little bit more open and relaxed and calmer in my older age. So Queensland have been running. They've got their next round June 14th and 16th at Morgan Park. So if you're in Queensland, get along, cheer them on. If you've got a car, enter it, have a bloody drive. Western Australia, I'm pretty sure that's just been the Ryan Humphries show. He's been dominating that. They've raced 3 freaking times. Plus he went and did Tassie. Bloody crazy bastard. He didn't like the tyres. Oh no, didn't like the tyre issue. But he's been killing in Western Australia as he does. I think there was I think there's a long race coming up. They've got some 100k race. I don't even know if I could. We couldn't do 100k. What the fuck? What sports sedans do 100k race? We do a 50k plate in Melbourne. They're trying to outdo us. Oh, we'll just do it double the bloody length. Our cars wouldn't do it. We need a pit stop, bro. So they've got, and their next round, July 21st at Wanneroo. Historics. They went to Malala. They had a good turnout. I think Blendline is doing a bit of a cover, a bit of a story about the historic sports sedan. So get over to Blendline TV and check that out. Their next round is not till August at Winton. So I think that's the Festival of Speed or something like that. The Gods of Destruction and Chaos or something. Something cool. I don't know. Winton's a great little venue. You can watch everything. It's cool. 2 litres. 2 litres have run at Calder, and they've just run at Winton as I speak. They've been getting really good feels. They've let in some little Fun Cup V-Dub rear engined things. Oh my God, the sky is falling. So they're doing that. They're running to their own sort of thing a little bit. I think there is invites. They're not sports sedans. But that's cool. They've got a really good field. Some really cool cars. I wanted to catch up with everybody this weekend, but I had my own dramas with my engine failing on Friday, driving around the trailer park. Not joking either. So I didn't get to catch up. I had to drive back, and I've been working in the garage on things and trying to reassess why I'm on this planet and why I chose to race cars. But 2 litres are killing it. Their next round is June 15th and 16th at Phillip Island. So get along that. They're definitely growing. They're strong. Some cool shit going on there. Good group of people, guys and girls. There is 3 ladies, maybe more, definitely 3 running at the moment. And one of them's definitely very competitive. The other one, semi, and the other one is having a blast. And I think that's fantastic. And if you rock up, they're running like a stock GD86 basically. So get out there. There's no excuses. She's having a ball. Go have a ball with her, male or female or whatever. I think they'll welcome you. It's awesome. So that's 2 litres. I should give a quick plug to the E-Series. We're kicking that off again now. We're going to do 10 rounds because it's not real, so we don't have to pay for real race cars fuel. And that's kicking off this week, May the 15th. So I'll have this podcast up before that on Sandown. We're not doing live streaming because that makes people drive too seriously and stupid and costs lots of money to do it. That's not cheap. It's about $100 a round to do that. So we're not doing that. We're just going to do it because we love it and we're idiots and we like driving cars even when we're not driving cars. So to finish up, we have New South Wales next round, May 25th, 26th at SMP. Get your entries in. That's still happening. June 29th to 30th for Phillip Island for Victoria. So entries are open for that, so you can enter. I think they have about 8 or 9 entries so far, so let's make that a 20-car field. Let's rock it. Let's smash it. Let's get it going. And Nationals, the big boys, the Gods of Thunder, the Motorsport, they are running on May the 31st, June 2nd at the Bend. So I've heard entries are slowly coming in. So come on, make this as awesome. It's part of the Speed Series. It will be on 7+. And you'll be able to show your friends, and they'll be very impressed that you're on a proper television station with your Brum Brum race car that you wasted all your money on. So get around that. I think that's about it. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know if you want me to just stop and fuck off. I don't know. I'm going to be taking a little bit more of a chilled approach to this because, hell, I'm not technically representing anyone. I'm just representing Sports and TV, and that's me. Not that this is about me. It's about the cars and the series. All of them. They're freaking cool. I'm just the idiot that talks about it and tries to find information. So, yeah, thanks everyone. Ram McClurkin here, Sports and TV. Thanks for listening. You rock. Love you all. Be nice to each other.